9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hi, everyone. We are here for our rental income property 101. If you've already bought a property, looking for a rental property, this is the video for you. This is the live feed for you. If you're watching this live right now, feel free to comment underneath. My name is Vinnie. Right over here, my co-host
David Wright. Nice to meet you.
Perfect. So we're just gonna just dive into this. Boom. All right.
You want to start it off this time, Vinny? Usually I do this page. You want to do this one?
Oh my! I feel honored. I feel honored, sir. Yeah, I'll jump right into this.
You are well qualified, my friend.
So we do usually 1 week we do the home buying seminar, 1 week the property investor seminar, kind of go back and forth. We're looking to incorporate another one. If you have something that you're very particular about, you're very curious about, feel free to reach out to myself or David, and we can kind of put that together. And we got so much demand from it last weekend. We're going to do it again. Instead of watching the video, you can watch it live. So let's just dive into it. So investment property. Okay, so you already own a property, and now you're kind of wondering what entails the process to get your next property. Okay, steady income. Okay, that's the idea behind getting an investment property, having something saved up for your retirement. Okay, your house appreciation. If you've bought a property maybe 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you've probably seen that appreciation happen over those couple of years. What next to allow that appreciation to keep growing? Buy an investment property. Lasting wealth, real estate. Have the renters pay your mortgage. I mean, if you're living in that primary residence right now, you're paying your own mortgage, but just imagine the possibility if you get a renter in there to pay your investment. Investments build wealth, especially easy cash flow over time. That's the name of the game. And if you're just joining us, feel free to comment, and you can answer the question. So monthly cash flow. Okay, how do investment properties build wealth? Monthly cash flow is one of the avenues. Rental properties create cash flow. Now, if you've paid off the mortgage, or you have basically a difference from what your mortgage payment is to what you're receiving, that residual cash flow. I know a lot of my older clients that they've paid off over 20 years their mortgages, and now they're just sitting and collecting that income for their retirement. Rental properties have the ability to increase cash flow by rent increases. Be careful, though. If you push that limit of what a property can get for rent, sometimes you're going to have more turnover on the property. More turnover, that means vacant, no money in your pocket. So sometimes that balancing act of maybe not the peak amount, but maybe a little bit under there. Average San Diego rents around $18.52 to $27.50. That's constantly growing, constantly changing. But yeah, each property is going to be different. Average yearly San Diego rent increases around 4%. In bad times, 2.7%. Rent's always going up. People are always going to have a place to live. And in San Diego County, there's a property shortage. That's why they've freed up the guidelines for ADUs, granny flats, to make it easier for to people to expand their families. You want to jump into a future appreciation?
Yeah. Well, this is usually what you like doing, and we're switching it up today. So future appreciation. Usually Vinny likes to jump into this because why? Nothing is guaranteed. So we're not here to predict the future. We don't know the future, but we do know history. And historically, San Diego average appreciation is like 5.55. What's it like in bad times? Well, in bad times, typically we lose almost 1%. Now, it's hard in San Diego to see a massive housing shortage. It's hard in San Diego for you to look at it and go, wow, I don't think people are going to move here anymore, and I don't think we're going to get any further appreciation. So although we can't guarantee future appreciation, historically speaking, through that new website called Google, if you Google San Diego housing appreciation, you will see the benefits of owning a house. And the last thing, as your renters pay your mortgage, your home appreciates as well because they're paying down your loan. So future appreciation is a big benefit towards buying, your first investment property or just a second, third, or fourth investment property.
All right. So I'm not a CPA. David's
You're
not
not?
a CPA. All right. And tax write-offs. Owning a rental property, great tax write-offs. Improvements to properties can be written off. You can depreciate the property for more write-offs. Taxes, insurance, mortgages, interest, all written off. Maintenance, written off. All right. So think about it. If you're looking for some write-offs, you're making a lot of money, and Uncle Sam's taking a big chunk of that. Might be a good idea to find that next property so you can have some write-offs. Now, how do you get started?
Oh,
Yes.
you know what? Can I add one thing on that thing on the write-offs, Vinny?
Please.
So a lot of people like to go out there and improve their house. Of course you do. You live there. You improve your house. You put all this money in. You do a new paver driveway. You do a new bathroom. You do a new fancy pants kitchen. And then you can't write it off. When you own an investment property, all the improvements you do to the property are tax deductible. Huge, huge thing to consider. Just thought I'd throw it in there. Sorry about that.
No, for sure. And okay, how do you get started? Yes, you need money. And because rates are so crazy low right now,
How low are they?
oh my goodness. You know what? I don't have the greatest of knees, and I don't know if I can reach that level of lowness.
Oh my God, you're really going low here today.
It is low. It is low. So we're talking about basically low threes, high twos, based off of your whole package. And David, if you're looking for your particular situation, give David a call. And so the benefit of that, I mean, if you bought your property, I don't know, a couple years back, and you have in the forest, and you haven't taken advantage of the current market, what does that mean? It means you could refinance, maybe take some money out of the property, and that monthly payment wouldn't drastically go up too big. So something to really think about how you can take advantage of the current values. I mean, maybe you even got something where you had less than 20% you put down. Now, basically, equity in your property has gone up, so you have 20%, lower interest rates. It's a fantastic time for a refi.
It is fantastic. Historically, the best time ever.
Why don't you jump into this right here? The next two.
Well, let's jump in right here. Let's dive in the deep end. So you need money. Yes, to invest, you need money. So like Vinny said, you can pull it out of your house to a cash out refinance, or you can pull it from different investment accounts. A lot of different investment accounts you hold will let you pull up to $50K out of them. You do need to check with your provider. You do need to check with your servicer to make sure that you don't have tax problems with that. And once again, not a CPA, nor is Vinny, so check with your CPA as well. If you take a cash disbursement, make sure you're not going to have that as a large taxable chunk of income. Next, you can actually do IRA real estate investment accounts. For those of you who are more savvy and you want to have a self-directed IRA with real estate, you can do it. Other time, you can pool your money with other investors, do leverage, or the final one, we put this as last because it's probably, with how low rates are right now, you probably don't want a second, but you can also get a second on your house if you already refinanced the first and you're locked in at an amazing rate. You can take a HELOC. These are all the things that get you in there to get the cash flow magic, because cash is king, but me and Vinny don't discriminate. So cash flow can also be queen as well.
That is true. And remember to think about, if you're pulling your money with other investors, make sure you know the other investors. Make sure you're protected with that investment. I mean, people say, oh, it's the best of friends. Yet when money is involved, crazy things happen. So be aware who you're working with on that.
Yeah, make sure, because once you go into bed with that investment, you guys are both legally attached. So make sure that if the other party is your best friend that does everything the best, but you're married, have kids, and have a certain lifestyle, and your best friend who you partner with is single and he's out roaming the town and things go wrong, your investment's at risk. So remember that. That's a good point, Vinny. I'm glad you brought that up.
Wait, what does him being single and out roaming the town have to do with all this?
Well,
bringing them to bed. Where are we going with this, David?
If he gets into trouble and next thing you know, he's, in a bad situation because of certain types of behavior, it could have a financial consequence.
You know what? I don't know what kind of friends you're hanging out with. I mean, I know my friends wouldn't be dealing with that. Stay healthy out there. Stay protected. Or we're all good here.
This is just a hypothetical situation.
Oh,
It's a hypothetical.
All right. So now we're going to go into the value, the appreciation in San Diego. So again, this is Zillow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, negative, positive, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, Zillow has it 679 as the median home pricing out there. The market is going up. It's going to go down. Focus on that monthly payment. That's the biggest thing. Focus on your return. Focus on that cash flow. That's going to help you out more so. Now, what's most important to you about investment property? Is it the monthly cash flow? Do you want the highest monthly cash flow? Do you want the ability to be able to increase your rent yearly? Or are you getting in with the first property and later planning the cash flow because of rent increases? I mean, something's going to go wrong. Plan for it to go wrong. Put it all together and make sure that a cash flow is there. Or yearly appreciation. Maybe you're just focusing on the investment property to stay afloat and then waiting for that appreciation to happen. And this is the fun time where I get to say this big word that I've trained for many of years.
Oh, no.
Gentrification.
Oh, man.
Gentrification. So, in basically a community that's constantly growing where it's maybe there's a lot of houses that were a little dilapidated. An investor goes in there, starts buying one property, the next. Dilapidated is another.
That is, you're just dropping some knowledge. Dilapidated.
You know what? I read a book once.
I read a lot of Dr. Seuss books, but I don't know if those count.
Oh, well, fair enough. So you can wait for that. Maybe you're not really focused on the cash flow now. You want to basically get the property paid off and then hope for that appreciation to happen over time. Or you're buying an area with lower appreciation because of the price. I mean, it's really factoring in kind of what you're looking to accomplish, or buy because their appreciation is down the road for financing improvements. So maybe this is the property where you can actually upgrade it because you're kind of handy. So you're going to get this property renovated, and now you're hoping that's going to bring appreciation of the property to offset your fees.
And
we go to the last one, David?
Let me jump in this one. So I'm going to throw with the appreciation. Vinnie mentioned you do some of the improvements yourself. The word for that is bootstrapping. We'll jump into that later. So last, safety of your investment. What's most important to you? Is it the cash flow, the appreciation, or the safety of your investment? What do we mean by this? We mean, is it the location of the property? Is it the stability of the rent you collect? Is it the long-term tenants you have versus the short-term tenants you have? Is it the needs of the maintenance of the property? Is this a high-maintenance property or is it a low-maintenance property? We could make an analogy of high-maintenance girlfriend versus low-maintenance girlfriend here, but we're not going to drive home a point. We're also going to take a look at type of tenants. Do you have college students, or do you have business executives? Do you have family? Do you have military? The safety investment all comes down to these different factors, because if you can't sleep at night because you're worried about, hey, I got the best price on my property, but it's in the worst part of town and I have really bad tenants, but I collect great rents, but I can't sleep at night. Or is it, hey, I paid a little more for my house, but my place is in a great part of town with long-term tenants who are both executives and my rent is at market. It depends on what is most important to you about it. And the safety for some of you is going to make you sleep better at night. For other of you, you're going to look at it and go, hey, I'm in it for the ROI. What's the rate of return? I'll take some risk. Therefore, I'll go with a little less safe investment.
Now, you thought about your goal of the property. What type of property is best for you? We're talking about single family. We talking about duplexes. Are we talking about triplexes and fourplexes? I mean, or maybe you just want to go crazy and jump into. You just want to go crazy and maybe get an 8 unit, a 10 unit, 20 unit, 25, 30. 35. Whoa. The fun doesn't stop.
Let's do it. I'll tell you right now, for those of you out there, I'm in the market. I'm shopping right now for 25 to 50 unit apartment buildings. I'm shopping for them. It is a lot of work, would be an understatement. But the amount of money it will make off rents will be totally different. So I'm going to end up bootstrapping. I'm going to end up looking at the safety of my investment. A lot of things we're going over is exactly what I'm doing as I'm looking for an apartment building right now.
So it's all about diversifying. You have one property, you have one tenant, two properties, two tenants, 3, 4 tenants. If there's a vacancy, you're not getting affected as much on it. Also, too, there's the way I like to say it is based off the community you're at, there's always going to be a baseline of how low you can rent a property for, right? Because the lower the property is rented for, the more interest you're going to have on that property, right? So the higher you go up in rentals, the less people can afford it. So probably the more units you have, if it's in a less desirable of an area, that probably means you're going to get a higher rent per square foot. Okay, higher rent per unit, however you want to look at it. So something to kind of really think about when you're thinking about what kind of property you want to go for.
Upside downside. So what Vinnie just went over, we do the upside downside here. We'll do this quick because Vinnie kind of hit all the points on the last one. You know, you got a single family house. That's only one renter, one cash flow. Duplex is 2, 3, or 4. You have 3 to 4 different sources of cash flow. It all is going to depend on the other factors we went over. What's most important to you when you get into this? Is it cash flow, appreciation, safety of investment, or if it's just your first place you're getting into, which, you know, you got to start somewhere. The single family, yes, it's not multiple avenues of cash flow, but it's a great way to get in and do things yourself. And it's probably the smallest path of resistance to get in because of the price point here in San Diego. What do you think, Vinny? Would you agree? Your single family residence, is it cheaper?
For the most part, I mean, if you're buying a single family in Rancho Santa Fe compared to buying a fourplex in maybe Barrio Logan, you're probably
hold everything. I'm not the guy buying the single family house from Rancho Santa Fe. I don't know what sort of people or person you are buying in Rancho Santa Fe, your starter house, but us normal folk, we're looking at it.
I look at it, everyone's created equal. It doesn't matter if you're looking to buy basically a $5 million home or a $200,000 condo. If you have an idea of what you want to accomplish, reach out to myself or David, and we can help put a game plan together.
For the record, neither one of us are professional comics either.
And you know what?
Let's be clear.
Exactly. So cash flow is not only king, but is also queen.
Boom.
So is there a wrong property to start with? Of course there is. Remember your goals here and your financial situation. Can you afford to lose a renter? Do you have reserves for things to go wrong? Because they will. Yeah. Can you bootstrap or do work yourself on the property? Do you have the patience to work with people?
Talk about that. Let's go. The thing right here, me and you talk about this a lot, is the patience with people. You're going to have renters. They are people. People need to be treated with respect. You have to have patience with them. So you need to get along with people. It's super important so that you don't get upset, lose your temper on your tenant, and then they sue you.
Yeah.
Other things, we put them on there, you know, wrong property to start with. Sure, if you overpay, it's wrong property. If you buy a property and you thought all your calculations were, hey, I can rent this property for X amount of dollars, and you were wrong because you chose the wrong real estate agent who directed you to the wrong property, then yes, you're screwed. So me and Vinny touched on this a lot in our first time homebuyer seminar. The agent you work with is super important. Do not pick the wrong real estate agent to help you. You really need a good professional because you're spending a lot of money here. And this is an investment.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you got? Is that one? That one didn't stump you here. Now, come on.
No, I was trying to think of a witty comment. I'll just say something about basically value. The only time value is really great is when you're buying a a Big Mac from McDonald's, but didn't really sound like it would jive really well. So
wow.
I haven't really, that's why I was like, let's roll that back. I mean, let's hold on that. But you threw me on the spot right there, and I had to say what was going on in my head. So, anyways, all right, let's look at some ways to prevent you from choosing the wrong property. Know your neighborhood. Know the area you're buying in. What's the average income? What's the average rent paid? Okay. What is the crime rate? Okay, so for crime rate, crimespotter.org, I say it all the time. It's a great platform right there. If you're trying to dive into the communities, we have our app that you can take a look at. It breaks down the different communities. It breaks down basically the demographic in the different communities. It gives you really insight. If you're looking for that, feel free to reach out to myself or David. We would love to give you contact to that app or actually give you the access to the Crime Spotter. What is the rate of appreciation? Again, if you're looking for that too, we can help out with those numbers. Average rent turnover. Again, we can help you out with a lot of these things right there. You really want to understand your community. You're probably going to have more of a heavy turnover in a college area compared to more an established area. Just stuff to think about when you're thinking about different communities.
And since we kind of dove down the wrong hole, let's analyze if you went into the partnership with your friend who's single and then he rents to a bunch of college sorority girls, that could also be problems.
All right, so know the property. What is the age of it? Deferred maintenance. All right, so the older the property, they might have cast iron piping in there that could be corroded over time.
Just
dive past David's stuff. Sometimes David goes down this rabbit hole that we got to get him back on track. And you know how we get people back on track is a strong enough game plan that allows us to veer back. But because we have a game plan, we know where we're going to next, and that's knowing the property. So deferred maintenance, piping, electrical, roof. These are things that are going to be coming up during the inspection to kind of understand what's next. If it's older property, maybe there's electrical, maybe there's a roofing situation. Is the back unit, is it permitted, not permitted? I mean, you'd be surprised. A lot of homes in San Diego County have like back units that weren't permitted. The guidelines have been freed up a lot.
A lot of changes.
A lot of changes. It makes life a little bit easier actually to get stuff permitted. So if you're thinking about adding an ADU, I mean, get it permitted. You're not going to pay that much more, but it'll save you down the road on doing it. I mean, the fees have been reduced drastically. Accessibility to parking. And for a lot of us out there, if you're looking at more kind of the metro area, parking can be a pain. Downtown, it can be very tough. You look in the metro area, other metro areas, it can be very difficult. So how much parking does the property offer? Zoning, legal upside units, average cost per square foot. You'll be surprised once you go up into maybe a higher price point. Usually you'll see the price per square foot go down. So if you see that communities have a really high price per square foot in the higher price points, and then they even have a higher price in the lower price per square, it's hard to gauge. So you want to kind of look at like properties to really get a better understanding for that property. And then what improvements can you do to the property to bring in more rent?
I'll jump something in right here. When you're knowing your property, the other thing is choosing the right property versus the wrong one. Imagine if you have to drive to your house and you go through 15, 20 stoplights. That is a deterrent for renters. Imagine if every time your renter drives to your rental property and they go, oh, that's right, I don't have parking, I don't have a garage, I don't have a driveway. Is there on-street, off-street parking? What's it like? Also, you look around, basically, is the place that you're buying, is it close to freeways, accessible, and convenient? People pay for convenience. Amazon, it's very convenient. You place an order, it shows up the next day. That's convenient. You want to look at the same thing with your rental property. Does it have good accessibility? And then the other one Vinnie touched on, number 6, zoning. When you're searching for the property with a intelligent, good agent, they may find that the property you're buying is actually zoned for 3 units or 4 units, and you're buying it as a duplex. And now that gives you upside to add other units onto the property because of the zoning. You're always looking for value and a way to get an edge with your investment property. So these things that we're mentioning, they're all important. And You know, like Vinny said before, are things going to go wrong with this place? Absolutely. Plan on them. But doing a lot of these things ahead of time will save you a lot of money. You didn't want to touch on those scales right there and do any sort of analogy? Are we just going to let that one go today?
Oh, do you want to jump back on that? Let me jump back on that. I would love to see where you're going to take this. We've already talked about basically getting someone to bed, having your friend go party out there, having sorority girls move into the property. No, please. I would love the next analogy for this one here.
So actually, we're keeping this on. These are not the scales of justice. These are the scales of, your investment versus high return versus low return. So we're trying to keep a balanced approach here so that when you make an investment, you make a balanced, good investment of the money you put down versus the money that you get back. Because if the scales are tipped one way or the other, you made more of a heavyweight decision on one end versus the other. We're not going to throw any analogies out here versus, Big Macs and Chick-fil-A's and value and different things. So let's move on, my friend.
Learn about mortgages, and great CPAs can help you with that, because I'm not a CPA. I know David's not a CPA.
I'm not a CPA. This is true.
Non-owner properties and mortgages, duplex will have higher rates for loans than a single family. When you buy an investor, down payment is usually 25%, can be 20% based off of it's maybe your second property. 3 to 4 unit properties will have a higher rate than 2 units. More equity in the properties mean lower rates. Something to think about too, if you're buying a property, a multi-unit property, but living in one of the units, that can even have a better interest rate.
The other thing that we didn't touch on, because this is a 101 course, this is a entry-level college course. This is, never mind, we're not going to touch that analogy. This is basically, you could go in and buy a 2-unit or 3-unit with a minimal amount of down, because you're going to own or occupy it and then rent out the other units and then make your game plan later to move out in 2 years. Now you bought your first investment property first before your first owner-occupied property, and you put less money down, making a higher rate of return on the amount of cash you put down.
Yeah, so yes. And if you're listening right now, you're watching right now, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or David, or comment below and we can dive into it. Great CPAs can help you with maximizing your tax benefits. Horrible CPAs maybe won't help you maximize your tax benefits. CPAs can help when you go to exchange properties and want to save money. A 1031 exchange, right, can be a great avenue. Sell one property, roll over the proceeds in the new property, roll over the capital gain to the new property, and save some money for paying Uncle Sam at the current time and buying maybe a better investment. Great CPAs can help you avoid recapture taxes and make friends with an honest contractor.
Ooh, what's the key word in that one?
Friends.
And honest.
Yes. So make sure, having a great contractor is going to make life easier for you. If you're not one of those people that can bootstrap it, like David says, then maybe have a good contractor. There's a lot of things you'll see by watching even YouTube are very easy to accomplish yourself, and making these repairs to it. So something to kind of give and take with.
You know what? I just thought about something, Vinny. If you want to buy a dilapidated property in a gentrified neighborhood, it's good to have an honest contractor to help you.
Exactly. That is true. You know what? While we're on the topic, why don't you tell us, so we get this property that needs some work, can you help us out with some formulas so we know that we actually got a good deal?
So these, unfortunately, I am kind of a nerdy math guy, and I do like these formulas. Me and Vinny put these 3 on here because these are simple ones you can use to help you measure your money, because if you can't measure it, you can't see progress. So cash on cash returns. This is a good one. You want to look at it. It's your annual cash flow divided by your initial cash investment equals your cash on cash returns. So I know Vinny doesn't really like this one because of my 24% rate of return, but we're trying to make you some money here, and we have a very positive outlook. Me and Vinny, we're not a bunch of negative Nellies, so we're going to go with this one. So example, you buy it $700,000. Let's say it's a duplex in Hillcrest, $700K. Pretty good deal, actually. Down payment 25%, 175K. Annual cash flow from rents, 42,000. So look at the formula. That's 3,500 a month for rents times 12. So now you take the 42,000 divided by your initial down payment, 175. You're making 24% return on your money. Your average return on your S&P 500 is between 8 and 9% per year. So this is a phenomenal investment. You want to add something there, Vinny? I know you're really good about jumping on that one.
No. I mean, he's an optimist. I could be a pessimist sometimes. In the end, it all comes down to having a strong enough game plan, knowing what you're looking to accomplish. Usually, I mean, 24% is definitely ideal, and we'll put together a game plan to get you the best we can get you. Go ahead.
I was just say, let's look at the next one, net operating income. This is important. Why? Because like Vinny said before, it costs money to have the rental. You will have expenses. Things will go wrong. So we put this on here because net operating income, it's your annual income minus your annual expenses, less the debt service. That means less the mortgage payment. So let's look at it. In our example, you brought in $42,000 a month or a year in rents. Yet it costs you $12,000 to operate that place. Maybe that's your property manager. Maybe it's the maintenance company you have taking care of it. Maybe it's because every month you had to dump $1,000 in it because you rented to certain college students and you had a lot of cleanup. Whatever it is. So you have 42,000 minus 12,000. Operating income is 30,000. Now you take this 30,000 and see if you divide it by 12, that's $2,500 a month. Can you pay your mortgage off that? So looking at that, that's why it's so important to know the net operating income, because does it pay for the mortgage? Does the property debt service itself? Super important.
And the last one, payback period. So 175,000 divided by 42,000, you can pay that back in 4 years. Now that'd be fantastic if you could basically pay off what is owed on the property in 4 years. I mean, even if you're doing a 30-year fix like that, start paying more on your payments. Maybe you get it down to 20 years, and that's a great retirement right there. If you can basically pay everything off and be debt-free on your investment properties and just collect that steady cash flow.
And you know what, Vinny? You mentioned this before. It was, I think it was a low comment, and we're not talking about low riders. We're talking about interest rates. With the rates right now so low, you can, basically pay off properties way quicker than you ever could before. So it is an amazing time right now. And, for those of you out there who are watching a lot of these COVID cases rise and things like that, and things becoming unstable, that instability gives you the opportunity to potentially find a really good investment, unfortunately, at someone else's peril, which is a downer because we are empathetic for everybody out there in situations. But in times when things are getting more unstable, there's a lot better room for investments and opportunity.
And think about more of a positive approach. If you're looking for something positive, you're a business owner, follow my podcast, Road to Growth. You can find out iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all platforms where podcasts can be heard. Now, what else should you do to protect yourself? Learn California renters laws. In California, renters are protected. The tenants are protected a lot. There's a lot of stuff in there. Just know the laws, know how you can be protected, so you don't have any issues kind of pop out. Currently, right now, with all the time, with basically having the foreclosures, evictions, that kind of stuff on postponement, it can be a difficult time. Only hire a highly qualified realtor to help you and a highly qualified lender. Okay. The lender, rates do fluctuate from one lender to the next, how they're going to be able to charge you. So having one lender that might charge you points compared to another lender that's going to offer you a better rate. Reality is talk to maybe two different lenders, just like you're going to talk to maybe two different realtors, and ask each one what they're going to do for you, what their past experience for. Look up their reviews on Yelp. If you're going to talk to two different lenders, talk to them at the same window of time because rates do fluctuate.
Every day.
Yeah,
sometimes 3 times a day. So take that in consideration. And, full disclosure, Some lenders are going to quote you things that are not achievable and you cannot get just to lure you in, only to change it later. So please beware.
If you have a bad experience or you have a good experience, write a review. I mean, I tell people all the time, I talk to people where they go, oh, I had a horrible experience with that person. Did you write a review? Oh, no, it's all right. I go, well, you're not protecting the next person. I mean, help the next person out. So if you do get the bait and switch, at least someone else is aware of it so they can be helped out. Now, also to property manager, you're going to be managing the property yourself, or you're going to hire a property manager. Property managers usually charge you between 6 to 8%. So really understand, do you want to do that? Do you not want to do that? Maybe it's beneficial for you not to have a property manager for the first property, but maybe after 2 or 3, you bring someone in. Just stuff to think about. Plan on things going wrong because they're probably going to go wrong. Maybe get a home warranty on the property. That can help out. Get some great insurance. Things like that will help out right there.
And so now that you looked at all these different things, you got to realize you're playing the long game here to create wealth. You have to be prepared to take calculated risk. Cash flow is king or queen, but you need to be able to operate and sleep at night. Because if you can't sleep at night because you're stressed out over your investment, your health goes downhill. Me and Vinnie, we are big people on health and food, fitness. Vinnie did mention his podcast. I'm going to plug it too. It's great for entrepreneurs to think and look at different people who have success because they made smart decisions. And then, the other thing we put on there, buy a rental unit, live in one for a while as you fix it up. You're always looking for ways to increase value with, my word, bootstrap, which doesn't mean putting your boots on. It means doing the repairs yourself, fixing as many things as you can by yourself, putting on the boots and going to work. And finally, last but not least, always look for ways to decrease cost. Never screw people over. Everyone always remembers if you get screwed over. Do not screw your tenants over. Be honest. Be a good person. Do not be a slumlord.
So now that you have the basics, go look at properties. All right. So what do? Hire a great agent and a lender. Okay. Geo areas. Know the geo areas. Know the communities. Look at rent improvements. Okay. Use the formulas. If you need the formulas, reach out to myself or David. We can get you the formulas. Have your goals. I don't know if we have it here, but have a game plan. You need a game plan to get you to where you want to get to. I mean, with everything where you have basically your Google apps like that to find a roadmap to wherever. Back in the day, we had to get those old-fashioned maps, put a game plan together of knowing which roads to drive to. Same thing happens with the best deal possible, best purchase possible is having a game plan with your lender, your realtor. I mean, mind you, let's say you find the greatest property, right? You get a great agent, find you a great property, yet now you're working with a lender that is not really watching the rates as they fluctuate. So they tell you lock it in now. What?
Our guidelines. The lender made our guidelines, and your realtor did a beyond amazing job, and then the lender blows it. Didn't follow the guidelines. You don't qualify.
Same thing can happen. Yeah, same thing can happen on the other side. Maybe your lender is getting you great rates, but your realtor is not finding you that right property, or they missed something in the contract, and now you're basically not getting a home warranty or getting those appliances, and you got to pay that out of pocket. Get a strong game plan with both sides. Make sure they're working together to really help you out. And if you have any questions, there's my information and there's David's information. And follow our market updates. We do it once a week. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or David. Our information is right there. Anything else you want to throw out?
The other thing, once again, listen to Vinnie's podcast. If you know people who you think are really successful, great entrepreneurs, introduce them to Vinnie. You'd like to interview them. And me and Vinnie, we're going to start doing a fitness challenge. So for those of you out there, please look for that to start coming up. If you're into being in shape or you want to be in shape, we're going to do fitness challenges. We're going to award people prizes for people who step up their game and make progress. So look for that coming too. We are looking to make overall ways to help you change your overall life through investments, through health, through fitness. All these things together makes you happier, which makes the people around you better, which makes the world better. And I'm just going to give a giant group hug right there. There we go.
Change happens today.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. And
All right. Thank you, everybody.
see you in the market.